So everybody who's here, go ahead and drop into the chat where you are. So let's see what our geography is this time. That's always fun. I had some fun geography on the last workshop we did, not a Skyscapito, but another one. And we spanned a huge breadth of the globe. It was really cool. San Francisco, California, Erie, Pennsylvania, yay. Oh, it's evening for you. Australia, Alameda, Monterey, yay. Great. Oh, hey, Santa Fe. Oh, that is gorgeous in Santa Fe. I really miss Santa Fe. It's been 2 years since we've been. Too many years. That's one of my favorite places, northern New Mexico. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. It's fun. So who's been practicing their ink skies? It's fun. It's been fun. I'm gonna like
fun but hard.
It's hard. Yeah. I was joking about being in Alaska. I was going to practice, but it was so rainy. It was all just gray. So that was just like, oh, well, I couldn't really practice that as much. More fun to do fictional skies too.
Where I live, there's seldom anything other than haze or fog. And yeah, it's so, I know what you mean by going to Alaska and not seeing much more.
Well, they said it was a really unusually rainy, foggy end of summer up there that they had gotten. It was very gloomy that year. For this year. Hey, Kate made it. Hey, Kate. Hello. How fun. Nice. Oh, Kate, I was up on Tumamook Hill yesterday. It was so beautiful.
How high is the elevation there?
Tumamook is 2,600 something. Let's see, 2,679. Where I was, but all the way at the top, I think you're going to get over 3,000.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's it overlooks all of Tucson and to the south and west, so it's really pretty. And there's been a lot of hill-topping butterflies right now. We're in, last of the butterfly season, and so it's really fun to watch that. Well, I think we should just get started. So let's kind of get a lineup of who wants to kind of share what they've been working on. I know, Candy, you've been doing a lot, or you were. I don't know if you were able to keep up with that. I've got a few things to share. So maybe we'll do, Bethan, do you want to also do like a little demo-y thing? Deborah, have you been?
Do you want me to start?
I have a learning experience to share. How's that?
Excellent. That's what this is all about. As you guys know, this isn't a workshop or a class or anything. We're all going to be sharing and coming up with ideas and just having fun. So it's been really cool to do. Let me share one quick thing with everybody though, to remind you, because we can do this as we go live. We are using Padlet, and I did add a new section on our Padlet for Skyscapito Meetup number 5, ink only. So I'm going to put that in the chat. Let's see. And then you can access it here directly on Padlet. If you don't sign in, it won't show your name. It'll just say anonymous. So be sure to write your name or go ahead and sign in. You don't have to sign in though. And then our page where this Padlet also shows up, and then I'll put the recording. Oh, I lost my Zoom. Where did my Zoom window go? Oh, that's great. There you are. Okay. Is here. So wonderful. Oh, we've got someone coming in from Panama. Welcome.
Oh, cool.
How fun. Great. So welcome to Kimmy. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is my first meeting.
Oh, fun. So yeah, we're very casual. So we're we're going to share, I'm going to share the kind of the 4 technique things that I sort of have been using in my journal a little bit. Of course, as soon as I started doing Skyscapitos in just ink, we stopped having a lot of clouds. So I was like, oh shoot, that didn't work. And then put your, go ahead and put your raise hand if you want to get in line for a share. And that way we can see you. Oh, Bethan and Deborah, can I make you co-hosts, please?
Sure.
Great.
Thanks, Roseanne.
So the raise hand is down under reactions. Hey, Deborah, I lost you. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. And so I'm making you co-host too. That way we've got backup for, well, I'm going to switch to my little, let's see. I'm just going to do screen share. Let's see if this works. Did that flip over to my little
Yeah.
desk?
We can
Okay,
see
good.
it.
I'm going to minimize, oops. That. I'm just going to use loose paper instead of doing this on my journal. So I played with kind of 4 techniques. And one of them I found really, really hard. And still haven't quite mastered it. I think it's because I don't have the patience. So I'll do a couple of the slightly easier ones. Oh, I forgot to ask if people could mute. That helps the view. I'm doing it's really, these are kind of small. So one of the techniques would be to use water-soluble ink. So this ink
That would be this.
permanent. And I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a fake, obviously I'm just going to make up a landscape here. So here's like some mountains. So someone needs to mute would be great, because I'm getting some feedback. So if you use water soluble, this is fun. So let's do like some cumulus clouds.
Okay.
Go ahead and let's just make up clouds. This is how I did it. And then let's make them cumulonimbus. So it's raining. So there's going to be rain showers. And let's give some, so it's going to have right fat, darker bellies or more shadow in the bellies. But I want to get some action in the sky behind. And also, I'm being strategic here because I'm using water soluble ink. So you can go in with a wet brush. And to make that cumulus cloud kind of pop out, I want to go in and really darken that background more. So that I really like this technique. I felt like it made the cloud look dramatic. And boom, like took just moments. And I really like that technique. Another one that's cool that I played with, actually, though, that you would need to carry ink with you in a container. So I don't obviously carry this in the field with me, but I do carry little vials like these little vials. This is what I do carry with me, so I could actually do this in the field. I'm going to do a similar skyscape here. Fictional mountains.
Okay. And then, let's see, here's where's
So someone's talking to themselves. You're going to be on video.
I put the directions for unmuting on the chat,
Oh, thank you.
or muting, I should say.
Oh, yeah, muting and unmuting. Thank you. So on this one, what I tried experimenting with was actually dipping directly into ink. Oh, please don't let me like accidentally tip this over. So I'm going to wet it first to give me a little guideline. This was a like completely new technique for me. I've never like added ink. So you're doing the opposite, right? You want that cloud to pop. So you got to darken the sky. So I just tried using pure ink on the water so it doesn't streak too much. Although you can make it streak intentionally, right? Couldn't you to get like cirrus clouds and stuff? We could try that. Make them a little puffy here. Yeah. And I don't know, that worked pretty cool. But look at the difference in the colors. I really like this Quink ink. Try your different water soluble pens because they get different colors. Like this is super pretty bluey gray. This is really, really charcoaly gray. Interesting. Let's see. And then the one I found really more challenging is just using lines. And so here's our little fictional mountain. Let's say there's a cumulus cloud over it. I'm gonna really lightly do my shape. Maybe it's a set of cumulus clouds. I don't know. It can be whatever we want. But then you draw it fill in with lines. And this is where I'm just not as patient as I could be, but it's the most elegant if you do careful lines. And I'm not so good at that. So I think it was Candy who told us all about Eric Soames, S-O-A-M-E-S. I believe. I'll pull out his books here in a minute.
Isn't it Sloan?
Sloan? Is it Sloan? Oh, thank you. Yes, Sloan. Where did I get Soames? And he does some really lovely. Now I'm going to go in and darken. Oops. And this is where I always want to do a curve. I'm trying to just do this with straight lines, which is kind of different for me. Or was that you, Deborah, who mentioned that, or was that Candy? I can't remember now.
I didn't originally, but I did after Candy talked about it. I did get his books.
Yes, his books are really good. And then another one that anything that has landscapes with etchings in them, you can see this line technique that they use, like Canaletto was one. It's C-A-N-A-L-E-T-T-O.
Yeah,
Durer.
Right. See, I made those lines too dark. I should have been paying more attention. So that's something I need to practice on for sure. Because they're really pretty and elegant if you can nail that just right. You could also do put interest in your sky. And then I'm going to stop because I want everybody else to go. Say you've got, and doing, don't forget broken lines are really great for this kind of stuff. So say we've got a really kind of a cloud burst thing going on, or a developing cumulus. Then, and this Eric Sloan does really, really elegant. He's suggested doing just a few actual directional lines, like to give your clouds some drama, but not a lot. And I really like that. So you maybe could go in and do some subtle shading here. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna let somebody else go.
Roseanne, before you turn off your camera, we have a question, a tricky one. How would you do a scene with like heavy, strong lightning?
Oh, good question. Let's try it. I would be tempted to use the soluble ink. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good idea. And maybe leave the lightning uninked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you use a resist for the lightning?
Yeah, so, well, yeah, that would work too, wouldn't it? Because then you don't have to be quite as precise. Let's see. So how would we do this? So, oh, aha, I'm using waterproof ink. That's so not going to work. I need, I'm putting a lot of ink in, so let's see. So it's like a dramatic sky. Lots going on, whoosh. And maybe I don't know, that's too big, but I have to think it through a little better, but see if I'm pulling the ink out from the sides of it.
Yeah, good idea. That looks good.
But I need more ink down here. So then you'd want to darken your top, I think. So that's just a really, I don't know, let's somebody else try it and see what you come up with.
Nice one on the spot. Good job, Roseanne.
Probably too
I
big.
agree.
Lightning's too big, but if you planned ahead a little better than I did, yeah, that's fun. All right, who's gonna go next? Beth Ann, Deborah. Deborah, why don't you share your lesson? Where are you? There you are.
Can you let me show my screen?
Yeah, you should be co-host, so you should be able to share now.
Okay. Where is it at?
Let's see, down at, should be right in the middle, bottom green.
On the bottom, it should
There it
be a
is.
red arrow.
Yeah.
Green arrow.
Right where it's
Where it's always been.
yeah. Is it coming on? There we go. Okay. Well,
Nice.
well, thank you. I don't know how much of it you can see because I don't know if it's well centered, but yeah, I tried to do it with just the pen and ink, and I'll show you in a minute. I actually used a gray pen, but this is the picture that was at the end of a street that I saw. And so then this is what I drew. And what is interesting to me, or what I learned, is these clouds are all at different distances away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really hard to get that depth of field, or it was for me with just doing this. And then the other thing that I noticed was, if I can find my cursor, I zoomed in to look at the clouds and look at how complicated they are compared to what I'm seeing with my naked eye. And so I like this middle part here, where it's very dark, it looked very different from, the distance. And so what I tried to do is then add some of that in, and it just got way too complicated. So that was one of the things that I learned. And so I need to figure out how to do the depth of field. And if I'm sharing my screen, I'm going to stop sharing, and then I think you can see me, correct?
Yes.
And this
Oh,
is what it looks like when I added, I just added gray watercolor pen to it. So it did add some more depth, but it's still not telling me that which clouds, the cirrus cumulus at the top, these are way off in the distance, I'm sure. And so anyhow, that was what my learning experience. And for those of you that don't are just here for the first time, I represent the novice. Oh, shoot.
yeah, so your video went away.
Yeah, I represent the novice in the group. So I'm the beginner, and this is to give everybody hope.
Oh, those are fantastic. You
Thanks.
tackled a really hard one. That I totally cheated and just made up landscapes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the
All
depth
right.
is going to be the hardest thing, I think, in doing pen. And I think that's something we can all practice with. We can play with that while we're doing that. Wonderful, thank you. Beth, do you want to?
Yeah, I'd love to share. Deborah, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that, and a really good lesson about depth. That is something to think about. And so I'm just going to share my screen and show you what I've been fiddling with. This is my page of skyscapes in ink. And so I did a whole bunch of different techniques like Roseanne, and I've just written here just to remind myself exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going to make my...
I like that it's like a little palette, like we do with our color palettes. You can create a palette for your ink skies.
Yeah, and each one is slightly different, but it has a really different effect. So this one I used diagonal lines for shading within the cloud, but left the sky as is. And one thing I did notice is that my tendency was to make the skyscapitos even smaller, because filling in that big space with lines was a challenge. So I just wanted to make them teeny tiny. This one I used parallel lines in the sky and just left the clouds as is. So that's sort of opposite to that. This one, diagonal lines for the background and diagonal shading. And going down to here, diagonal lines for the background with no shading on the cloud. So you can see like they're similar techniques, but they look quite different. This one I used this art line pen, which is water soluble, but I didn't like the effect. I didn't feel like I had any control over it. It just, when I added the water, it just went and sort of did its own thing. So not sure about that one. This one is sepia ink straight out of the bottle with a brush. And I don't have any experience using ink. And so I felt it was fun, but I felt like a little bit out of control. But I think that I think that's a good feeling. And actually this last week I've been playing with different art materials because I think I'm just so much a watercolor person that I rely on it and I'm safe and comfortable there. And so I want to stretch myself a bit. And so this has been good, even though it feels uncomfortable. I think that discomfort is a good stretchy feeling. It's not bad, even though it didn't feel very comfortable. Diagonal lines without shading. This one, diagonal lines for the background and then horizontal lines for the cloud. I saw one example online. This one has not worked out how I wanted it to, but that was an interesting idea to differentiate the cloud from the background by changing the direction of the lines. And this one I've called ink as watercolor because I was using it, as you did, Roseanne, with like diluted with watercolor. And but I did feel like I was cheating a little bit and going back to my like comfort zone by doing that. So there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. Each of them have their own benefits, I guess, and each looks really different. I mean, this looks super stylized, whereas some of these other ones look a bit more realistic. Yeah, that's what I was playing with. So I found it really uncomfortable, but also really fun and a good way to stretch out of my comfort zone and where I fall back to, which is watercolor. I'm really pleased we did this one. I think it's been a good learning experience, and it's made me think that I really need to practice. This is something that it felt like my thought when I was doing this was like, oh, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of something, not, oh, this is the final thing. This is like me realizing there's something else to explore. So that was really fun.
Bethan, if you had used black watercolor and just did different gradations of it, do you think you would have felt more comfortable then?
I think so. I maybe I'll try that. I did feel like I was cheating a little bit because I'm not sure even how to use ink. And so I wasn't even sure whether it's sort of legit to add water to the ink. I don't know. I guess we do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, but, I think that water soluble is really fun. I challenge myself to only use ink, but I think using the water soluble is a way to shape.
I guess, I mean, when you use ink from a bottle, like with a brush, in the traditional sense, do ink artists use water to dilute that ink?
Absolutely.
I do. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I wasn't cheating as much as I thought I was.
No, it's a whole genre. Doing ink drawings like sumi is and boy, does it take a lot of practice. So
yeah, I guess I wasn't sure if that was like they use the ink neat or whether you can dilute it.
I think all of the above. And people even mix inks, I think.
Just so you know, Bethan, I wondered the same thing about the quote unquote cheating.
Yeah. It's funny how we box ourselves and we think like, oh, if you're a watercolorist, you can't use white and and we say this is not true, whatever it is, which is silly. I think we need to free up and just say we're making art in whatever way feels good and looks good and feels like play. So I do it to myself, but let's give ourselves as a group permission to do it our own way.
Exactly.
Isn't that what they call mixed media?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right, let's see. Carol, let's go Carol next. Let me spotlight. There we go. Hello.
Hi. I had done some cheating and I had purchased.
That's the book, yay.
I'd done this book, The Eric Sloane Skies, and I was familiar with these books before. My father had collected a number of them, but my sister got the books, not me. So I went and purchased these. So one of the things in traditionally in art is to actually copy, which seems like it's cheating, but to copy, because it develops your hand-eye coordination and it also gives you a chance to figure out what the artist did to figure out his problems. So what I did is I didn't trace these, but I actually looked and copied them. Bill, did you
Nice.
turn the light?
Yeah.
And then the
that's
same
nice.
thing here with this one. So what I learned from it is, so when you start drawing these lines here on when you're about halfway through the process, what you think is dark enough isn't dark enough. And you really need to analyze what the artist is doing there to figure out how to handle it. And it really is a great learning technique is to cheat by copying. But many, I can't tell you how many artists that you think did not copy things, copied someone else's work. So it's a way to learn. So long as I don't sell this as my own, there's
Right.
no reason. And
I agree.
I
That's how we all learn is even from childhood is to copy what we see.
Right.
And so definitely a great, yeah, and Eric's books are just wonderful. Aren't they just so much fun to read too? He has such a great sense of humor.
And they're on all topics too. It's just
He was
incredible.
prolific.
He was. It was. He's a really an incredible author and artist. So anyway,
Yes,
that's
if
what.
you guys don't know, he did a massive mural at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. It's massive, and it's the largest. So it's not a skyscapito; it's a sky. What's an opposite of an ito? So yeah, awesome. Okay, thank you, Carol. Good reminders too.
So don't think about cheating, and I think also this idea of try using the tools differently. A good example would be instead of using a pen, try picking up a stick and using a stick to use your ink. And
dip it.
Just like a dip pen. And that could come up with some really interesting techniques. So just an idea, or try something else, a straw or something else, and it'll give you different lines. So thank you.
Okay, let's see. To figure out how to remove your hand, hold on. Lower hand, there we go. Danny was next, I think. Let me spotlight.
Hi.
I love your doggies.
It was Inktober this month.
Yeah.
So I was doing quite a lot of little ink things, and I didn't make every day, but I tried using a mapping quill pen. So it's a very, very small, and it's very flexible. So can you see how it spreads?
Yeah.
And I started with, the regular India ink, which dries pretty shiny. And that I didn't kind of like that. So I found, I was reading in a book, which I'll share with you all, this, which dries matte. And you can also use it, you can dilute it to get nice grays and everything. And you can use it with a brush and get a very flat black, which is pretty neat to do. And then I was this is an example with the mapping quill. It's a piece of Western fence lizard skin.
Oh, nice.
And so just the really fine lines and everything. And then we tried to go to the ocean quite a bit, and I tried to sketch the waves. So I was trying to do them, and instead of painting them, I was trying to do them with ink, and then catching the movement more with speed. Nice. So moving my quill and that was fountain pen, quicker. But this is the book that I want to share with you all.
Ooh,
Ooh.
sweet.
It is out, published about 2 months ago. And she's in the UK, so she talks about some products and everything that are not available in the United States, but you can pretty much get everything. And she covers projects from start to finish and talks a lot. And this is an example of her mark making that she talks about. So these are pods, the same pod done with different mark making, you know, typical contour hatching, and then stippling, and I think the other one's a combination. And she does a lot of contour hatching with a variety of line lengths, and then continuing that line on, and then maybe some stippling at the end of it. I mean, it's quite elegant. It's quite just a lovely book. And the majority of it is all, you know, ink, black and white ink.
Oh, fantastic. Wow.
And yeah, it's just really enjoyable. So I think you guys will love it.
Thank you. Awesome. Oh, another book to buy. Yay.
Yeah.
And is her last name Moorish with an H or with an S?
I put it in the
H.
chat.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I did too, and I didn't get the H.
Oh, mine auto corrected.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
it's Moorish. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That book looks great, Danny. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it's just one of those really neat books. You know how some books you pick up and they feel good, they smell good, and they're just a treasure trove. That's one. Yeah. That's what I got.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Susan. Let's see, lower hand. Let me spotlight you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Well,
Wait, that didn't work. Hold on.
thank you.
Okay, someone's going crazy. I mean, Zoom is going crazy. I keep spotlighting you and it's spotlighting me. Okay,
You,
there we go. Okay, that was weird.
you're prettier. That's okay with me. I just, first of all, I just wanted to make my 2 cents in there about copying, because I mean, if we look at a tree or we look at a butterfly and we render it, I mean, you could say that you're copying. In my opinion, I don't think there's any such thing as cheating, because you're using, even if it's an illustration, you're using that for inspiration. And I know that I cannot even copy my own work. Once I've done it, I can't duplicate it. And if you were one of those professional forgers that managed to duplicate it, I guess then you could say, you know, that it's copying. But I just wanted to encourage, I'd forgotten her name, that it's not really cheating. It's just part of what we do to learn.
Yeah.
And so many art books tell you to get pictures of and go to the old masters and experiment and try and imitate them, because all you are doing is imitations. It's not really a copy. And I have been encouraged in my life to do just that. So I just wanted to share that little bit. And then I wanted to share just my tiny, this is like really tiny if you see the size of my hand.
Wow, look at the lightning.
Oh, awesome.
The lightning is that good old fashioned Signo gel pen
Oh,
that I just added on top of it. I love this pen, you know, for things like that, because I personally, I can't always plan in advance to use masking, wait for it to dry, get the lines thin enough, or even in the right place. And I've had all kinds of issues with masking fluid over time. And if I can use something else, I will. And this white gel pen by Signo, it's a Uniball Signo. And it actually comes in a fine one and this one doesn't say medium or whatever, it's just the regular one. But then there's another one where it does say that it's fine. So I just wanted to share that so you can do lightning that quick.
Good job. That's really effective.
And I did some line work, but when my paper got wet, a lot of it disappeared. Anyway, it's not quite as lovely as some of your examples, but I'm working on it too. I'm not a pro at this.
It's fun to just experiment and to feel free to experiment and know that we're just, hey, it doesn't matter. And nothing, it's when you
Well,
do.
I've been using, I've
Oh,
also
that's
been using
lovely.
a dip pen. This is a Tachikawa from Japan. It comes with a 10 nibs, and it's actually the G nib, and it's very flexible. You can see how flexible that is.
Wow, yeah.
And that's the one that the nib that like cartoonists use. And it's wonderful because it comes with a cap.
Oh, so yeah, that's
And the
great.
cap also has a little thing inside so that it'll fit on the end so you wouldn't lose it. I prefer to use it without the cap that gets in my way. And I use, this is a permanent ink, but it's Black Magic
Oh,
by
yeah.
Higgins. And it's, I had some other Black India ink that bled through every paper that I was trying it on. And this Black Magic by Higgins doesn't. It's also permanent, but I too have been playing around. What I like about the dip pen is the varied lines. You can go from thin to thick just by adding more pressure.
Exactly. That's awesome.
And I didn't try using it to do the lines because the ink's permanent. It didn't, it wasn't going to bleed, and I was working with the bleedy pen, not the permanent ink. But I just thought I'd share another brand. This nib's way bigger than the quill, as you can see.
Yeah, what's
Could you say the name?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
we want to put that
Okay,
in the chat.
Tachikawa, T-A-C-H. I don't think it'll show up. There it is.
Yeah, there it goes.
T-A-C-H-I-K-A-W-A. And you can get it on Amazon. And it comes with a little box with 10 nibs in it.
Yeah, so the nibs are just slide in and out. That's wonderful.
Yeah, they just pull in and out like that.
And Mary says jetpens.com, which is a fantastic source of ink supplies and wisdom, is a great, I buy from them as well. In fact, I need to go buy some ink, so maybe I'll look at those.
Well, this one was just on Amazon.
Yeah, fantastic. Does anyone else want to share, make comments, raise your hand, because I thank you so much, Susan. That was fantastic. Does anyone else want to share? Oh, there we go, Danny. Go ahead, Danny.
I just wanted to point out, I don't know if they still make these, but it's a dip pen made out of bamboo.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. Because
You
there,
can-
somebody had mentioned drawing with a stick. I mean, it's kind of like that, but it's pretty neat. And you can sharpen or blunt off the edge, however you would want to do it. And you can use both ends. I'm not sure if you're supposed to, but because this one has the breather hole in it.
Oh yeah, it's the little, you could make your own too if you were.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, just so it's kind of an interesting.
Most art stores still sell them.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
And as well, if they don't, you can just ask them and they could get it, because
nice.
they're not obsolete yet.
So who knows about the book The Organic Artist by Nick? Is it Bledo? Nick, The Organic Artist. So he has instructions in there on making your own dip pen from sticks as well, bamboo sticks, willow, whatever you have, and making your own ink. So he has instructions for making acorn ink, walnut ink, and ink from fruits and things like that. So let's see, The Organic Artist, and it's Nick. Let me me just Google it real quick. I have the book, but it's in the other room. And you can buy the book directly from him. And he also makes one called The Organic Artist for Kids. It's Nick Neddo, Neddo. So if you really want to geek out on ink and stuff. So while we were all talking, everybody else was sharing. Let's see. Nope. Stop. I played around with, hold on, I've lost myself. That's like a new Zoom term. I can't find myself. There we go. So Zoom is okay. Zoom is acting up, seriously.
That was me. Sorry, I was I was helping you.
Okay, Beth Ann's acting up. So I tried doing like wetting the paper to try to get cirrus clouds and then dropping ink into to try to get that wispy cloud thing. Here I put too much ink and it
I love that, Rosanna. It looks
bled
really
too
good.
much, but this one was a lot closer to what I was hoping to do, to get those cirrus clouds kind of thing. This one had too many hard edges. It dried too fast. So that's another thing, is just wet the paper and drop the ink with your brush. And it takes a lot of practice. It's hard. Oh, Susanna says, I just bought walnut crystals, which get mixed with water, like creating instant coffee. What? No way. I gotta check that out. So I dried, this is a jar full of wild walnut hulls. And so I'm going to be making ink from that. So the ink is from the hull, the outer skin, not the shell. So I wonder if I could like grind it up super small. I wonder how they get it to crystallize to turn into ink. I wonder if it's flash frozen dried, you know, like soup. I mean, that's how they do the coffee, right? So it's probably flash. Oh, great. We've got some more sharing. Annette, and then Johnny. So I'm going to unspotlight me. And there we go. Annette, you're up.
Yep. I got myself a fountain pen the other day and it arrived. So I've been playing with that Salemi Safari pen.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love it. Yeah.
So that's been fun. It's not a waterproof ink. Do you usually normally use a fast drying ink in your fountain pen, or not?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I've been doing a lot of experimenting on the inks for fountain pens, because on one pen I use waterproof, and I've discovered that the waterproof inks, there's a wide range of how quickly they dry. So platinum carbon there dries really quickly. I can sketch right now with this and probably within a minute paint right over it. And then I tried, but if I don't use this every day, it clogs, it dries, because it's a pigment-based ink. So I got to use it or I'm going to have to wash it out. Then I tried, someone said Noodlers, which is supposed to be waterproof, and then dries really quickly, and it is dye-based. It's not pigment-based, so I can leave it in my Lamy Safari. Like this has been sitting for a week without using it, and it fired right up. However, it takes forever to dry. So that's the trade-off, I think. Anyone know any other like waterproof quick drying? Susanna says, oh yeah, she's reminding us, do not use India ink in your fountain pens. And the reason is India ink is large particles, and it's usually the binder in it is often shellac. So it will simply glue your pen together.
Oh, that's good to know, because I was almost going to put some Indian ink in the pen, so just as well.
Don't do it. And
Well,
I know someone
this has only got one cartridge, because I bought a converter, so I didn't buy any ink with it, so it's only got blue ink in it.
I don't know. It sounds like you're in Australia.
Yes, yeah, I'm
No,
just
I
up
don't know. Noodlers
about
is
20
an
minutes away
American brand.
from Bethan.
Yeah, so I don't think you can get Noodlers there. Platinum carbon, can you get that there?
I don't know. Bethan would probably know what I can get. I haven't looked yet.
I really don't know about that because I'm new to ink, but well, I'll look into it.
Yeah, so the look in the chat too. Susanna is also mentioning, I also have used the Diatramentis black document ink, and that dries pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But again, that's a pigment ink, so if you don't use it frequently, you'll have to rinse out your nib.
Yeah. And talking about copying, I used to live in England a long time ago, and when you went to London to the big art galleries, you would see students sitting in front of all the artists and just sitting there and copying the artists, and that's how they learned. So that's what everyone used to do. It's a long time since I was there, and they probably don't do it anymore.
Oh, they certainly do.
Yeah. So that's the normal thing to do. So yeah. Anyway, so
Fantastic.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so Johnny, am I saying that right? Is it Joni or Johnny?
It's Joni.
Okay, great.
Hi, everyone. I more or less have a question, and I'll share something I've done. I hope it'll come across here.
Oh, those are great.
My preferred way so far with, getting the clouds in the sky is with pen and ink and watercolor. But I also like laying down a wash and then using tissue to lift.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if anyone had any tips on using that technique, how to have more control over it, or, I mean, obviously you've got to wad it up or, sculpt the tissue in the right position, I guess you would say. But I just didn't know if anyone's done that much and has any tips.
That's a good question. I think you hit on one of them is you got to go quick, because the longer it's on the paper, the more it gets into the crevices of the paper and the harder it is to get off. And yeah, having your pre-balled, or if you're going to do cirrus clouds, you could make, roll it up and make it long and skinny, but you'll need a lot of them because you can't reuse it once you blot it, or you're going to add watercolor back into it, which sometimes I forget, and I'll grab the same one and ruin it because I touch it back in. How about Bethan's really good at skyscapes?
Joni, were you talking about lifting watercolor out of the cloud?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it really depends. One major thing is to choose the right color, because some watercolors are staining and some are liftable. And so
what's your favorite lifting?
Cerulean is a good lifter. Anything phthalo is not a good lifter. So it's choosing the right watercolor, and you can test it out. And ultramarine is a good lifter, but it's a bit too purpley for true sky color. So you could mix cerulean and ultramarine, and those two, they lift really well. So it's about practicing which pigments that you're using. If that's the technique you're using, then use something that's easy to lift and steer away from phthalo.
Right. One of the other problems I had was I laid my wash with, and I don't recall, sometimes I write down which watercolor I used, but the blue, when I laid that down and then did the lifting, I thought everything was good, but of course, after time, after it dries and all, it was not as rich, the color of the sky. So the clouds ended up very, very subtle. I mean, I kind of liked it, but there will be times that I'm sure I'm looking at a landscape of sky that I want the clouds to show up more obvious.
It's definitely okay to go over. You can, once the thing is dry, and if you feel like it's not lifting or it's not, the contrast isn't enough, you can definitely do another wash over the, like leaving the clouds and just go again over the top, over on the, just the sky area. And that will help darken it up and bring up that contrast between the two.
Contrast is your friend when you're doing skies.
When I started watercolor, I was really tentative about making the colors dark enough, but now I know that it's that contrast that really makes it come alive.
I want to add a comment here. Also, if you're using tissues like for noses, those kind of tissues, don't use anything with aloe in it because it resists.
Right.
And did you find that out, Roseanne?
No, I don't buy those kind, but of course it's got, it's just gonna add oily stuff to your.
And the same with the soft, if they're called soft. So
yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a good question from Evia about ink skies. Did anybody try doing nighttime skies with ink? I would try a ink wash if you have jarred ink. You can also just try it. It takes so much patience, and I don't have this kind of patience, but try the very close together lines, and then map out your stars or whatever features you want. A moon, you could do a really cool moon by using the lines really close together, and then when like to do a quarter moon or something, then use contrast, like lines that go a different direction, maybe to throw back the part of the moon that's dark. That might be fun. I would try that. I have to admit, I don't have the patience to sit there and do those lines. I'm just like, and then I go too fast and they get all wobbly. So I know there's lots of people who have the patience to do that.
I'm the same as you, Roseanne. Sometimes people say, "Oh, just do stippling," and I'm like, "I don't have time for stippling."
So
I have to head off.
Okay,
it's been so much fun, but thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you. Susan, you had a question, comment?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. When you're talking about inks, I found that the Noodler's ink, if I left it in my pens unattended, that it dried out, and I wound up soaking the nibs in warm soapy water, not hot. That cleared them out. But platinum ink, platinum actually makes a platinum fountain pen. It's quite costly. But this pen was particular. It's got an ultra extra fine nib in it, and it is specifically designed to use the platinum carbon ink. It will not clog. They've made the channel of the ink flow to accommodate the carbon black ink. And for those people who want to use, insist on using India ink, you really need to use a dip pen. Speedball had all those various nibs and dip pens years and years ago, and still do, for India ink alone. I would never use India ink in any type of fountain pen. It's just game over. And the same with Sumi inks. You can use those with that bamboo pen that we saw, or dip pens, but you can't put any of the Sumi or Chinese inks in a fountain pen either. You're asking.
It's because of their pigment particles are
way too.
They're big, and they're gonna clog. They're beautiful black. So there's some great comments. So I'm gonna be sure to save the chat. Valerie definitely had some great info. Like, it's not, let's see, you shouldn't generally mix fountain pen or inks together to put into fountain pens because of the compatibility issues. Their formulas are different. And that's it. And then Susanna asked, has anyone tried diluting ink and putting into your water brush instead of plain water? I did that not with the plastic water brushes, but with the Kuretake brush. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. This is the Kuretake, and I put walnut ink in this. It has a reservoir, just like a fountain. It's just like a fountain pen, but with a natural hair brush on it. My only problem is since it doesn't seal super well, it evaporated, like literally. Like I put it in, and then maybe a month goes by, and I pull it out to use it. There's nothing in there. It didn't leak. It's full of pigment. So jury's out on that one. Anyone else have any experience with the Kuritakes? No. Okay. Well, I think this one went by fast. Oh, let's do, I'm going to switch back to gallery view, and let's do, excuse me, let's go gallery. What do we want to tackle next time? What would be a fun thing? Should we do night skies? The laughing. Oh wait, Kate, look at you with your cloud behind you. I'm spotlighting Kate. Sorry, you're being called out. Look at that.
Always a pleasure to be here with everybody. It's my first time to the Skyscapitos, though, so thank you. This has been filled with tips and great inspiration.
I'm gonna put a Skyscapito. Wait, what do you call those behind you?
Zoom background.
Background, things. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so what do we want to try? Let's for next time. What do we put some? Drop them in the chat. Ideas. Also on if you didn't get it, I'm going to put them on again on the Padlet. There is a Padlet section on the far left. Please add your ideas there as well. So I'm putting that in. Here's the Padlet. No other ideas. Night skies, reflections on water, reflections of skies on water. Ooh. Do you want to lead that one, Susan? No?
Distant fog.
That would be fun. Oh, and we'd love to have more people volunteer to lead sessions too. Mix it up. Yeah, let's do that. Night skies, wind, depicting wind. Ooh, that's a good idea. So we're saving all these. So drop the ideas into the Padlet. I can drop some in too, and then we can actually kind of vote on them. So if you go and if an idea in the Padlet gets a lot of like hearts and likes and comments, then we'll lean toward the one that gets the most interest. So go on over there. There's more. Yeah, plenty of space for adding more. So that would be fun. Nice. Oh, let's see. Etcher Studio has watercolor sky demos on YouTube. Nice. Great. Oh, and Valerie, can you do you have the link to that? The demo, the watercolor clouds? That would be awesome. Tomorrow, my internet company informed us we're going to not have internet tomorrow. So we have an outdoor play date tomorrow. Yay. No, I'm sorry, I can't work tomorrow. Etcherstudio.com. So they have a YouTube channel. Yeah, Evia, go ahead.
I was going to say earlier on, you'd been talking about what could be a good word for like the opposite of Skyscapito, or somebody had been saying that. What
yeah,
about what about skyscapissimo? Because that means like the most
The
skyscape.
biggest one, skyscapissimo.
And also, I tried what you just suggested about doing the moon with different line.
Oh, well done. I like that.
So thank you. That was good.
Nice. Oh, well done. Thank you. Well, everybody, this was fun. It's nice to see everybody. And we'll have the recording up. If you have more ideas, email or use that Padlet, because then it becomes more like a community. Yes to moon skies. Moon skies. I like that. Moonscaping.
Roseanne, how will we let people know what the topic is?
Oh, we'll look on Padlet, and whatever gets like the most likes, or in the chat, whatever got the most, kind of let's do that, yay. And then we'll email out again. And the date, November's a little, let's see. Is this a pretty decent time? This way we can get Australia. And it looks like Thursdays might be a little better for more people. Is that true? Rather than Friday? Okay. We'll check with Beth Ann, because sometimes Saturday is better for her because of childcare. So I can't remember why we had to do this day today. She had something going on. Okay. Well, that's fun. Thanks, everybody. Very inspiring. I'm going to work on my ink. Really fun. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Adios. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Lovely.
you.
Thank you so much.
And be sure to send examples we can put on the website too.
Yeah.
It's the deal. You
And put
bet.
that on, or put it on Padlet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.